Hello, my name is Nicole Hartley Bradford, and I've been researching how to build a Rage Club game world around myself and around the world. And I've been doing this as a Rage Club space holder, and also for the last year or so, also as a Rage Club space holder who has apprentices who are starting to train as Rage Club space holders also. And I'm I'm here to report about my research, what I figured out, and also to make invitations to whoever watches this. Mm, what I've figured out as I've in the last 5 months I've relocated and I've made a home base on the Sunshine Coast of BC. And this is a perfect place for me to build a Rage Club game world because I'm new here after being away for 22 years. And I'm also known here because I lived here for 10 years. So this is turning out to be a great place to do this. I'm not saying that that's what it takes, but this is something that's working for me. My first steps were to really talk about Rage Club wherever I went, visiting with old friends who I'm reconnecting with. Mm, I remember once I was in a cafe and I asked for a specific drink that I wanted and it was not on the menu. And the barista behind the counter said, "Wow, that's so cool that you asked for what you want and choose off the menu." She said something like this, and I said, "I couldn't have done it 4 years ago before Rage Club." And she's like, "Rage Club? What's Rage Club? It sounds like something I need." And I said, it and I talked. I don't even remember what I said. But next thing I knew, she was saying, "Will you tell me when you're going to be offering a Rage Club?" And I said, "Yes." And and it now she's on the list. She's on the list for coming to Rage Club. And I went to another event where it was about uh, a social action group here is looking for possibilities and doing experiments about uh, eliminating poverty here, and I was interested in that. And I went and I ended up speaking to one woman, and then we joined another group of people, and I talked about Rage Club, and this woman has literally been texting me about once every 3 or 4 weeks, just and when she sees me saying, "Any news about Rage Club yet?" And I've had a lot of joy yesterday when I texted her back and said, I've got the invitations for you. And the invitations I have for you, for her, and for you to experiment with or to join me in this experiment are I created 3 online, I'm calling them a Taste of Rage Club, that are focused on particular ways of using anger consciously. The first one is Get Your Real Voice Back. The second one is discerning between irresponsible and responsible anger. And I'm going to be using a kind of simpler version of the tell the story of from ETB, tell the story of the worst thing that ever happened to you, and now tell it as a responsible story. It will be, like basically complain about something and get mad and complain and then stop. And then for the next probably 2 minutes, use your anger to to take more responsibility, to use your anger as a resource and speak again. And then the team gives feedback and coaching about how to be more radically responsible with the anger, so that there can be this distinction built about like beating yourself up or beating someone else up, and taking a stand for something and using your anger to ask for what you want or to make a declaration or to choose about something. And the third Taste of Rage Club will be a 3-3-3 rage. I'm calling it a village building initiation. And this will be to start people off doing 333, joining the Zoom in Crossroads on Telegram to have an international team, and inviting people from their world to Zoom in and rage together, and maybe come in person to rage together to do 333, or weave a 333 kind of a 15-minute session of checking in, 3 minutes of anger, sharing your gold, weaving that into something like a yoga class or a mother's circle or a men's circle or a movie night or anything, so that it can be a village building initiation. It can be a village building event that someone is taking us down for 333 and inviting other people to it. And when I shared about this call today in the Rage Club Spaceholders group, and Chloe, she really gave me this clarity. This is about how to build a circle for Rage Club around you and around the world, whether you're a Rage Club spaceholder or participant, because a participant could do this too. A participant could team up with a Rage Club spaceholder and commit to even helping organize, helping find people for 3 Tastes of Rage Club. Mine are 1 a week for 3 weeks. And then the next week, there is going to be the first in-person, in a way, it's still a Taste of Rage Club, but it is a Rage Club, and it's going to be called Radically Responsible Raging, Essential Skills for a Rapidly Changing World. And then I would do, probably start offering a series. I'll see what happens. If 1 person comes to this in-person Rage Club, if 10 people come to it, I'm going to ask Echo to arrange for 10 people to come, and I'll take it from there and do the next kind of experiment of a lead up and finale, or 3 series and a finale, so that this keeps rolling and keeps growing momentum. But and Chloe shared about the main forces that she has found to build a circle. The first one is creating legends. So I think this will be the next Taste of Rage Club that I offer, is creating legends. How to use your anger and your fear and your joy and your sadness to create and share legends, which, she writes, are unreasonable, non-linear, unpredictable actions that people remember because it was extraordinary or archetypal action on your part. It can be as simple as giving a 10-second coaching to a stranger at an opportune moment, or to writing a proposal to the United Nations the way Clinton did. So there are, she shares that for some people, legends are more natural than for others. And she thinks it's high time for possibilitors and spaceholders to study legend making and experiment. And so this Taste of Rage Club legend making, this really goes with the Get Your Real Voice Back, is in the works. Noted, and Chloe, and thank you. The second point, she writes, is documenting and sharing your discoveries unreasonable through articles, videos, and work talks. So here's a video. This is one. And I will share it, and I will unreasonably share it with I'll put it everywhere and anywhere I can think of. And she also shares that any Rage Club spaceholders could have a bi-monthly work talk series. Who wants to do that with me? Who wants to hold space for a work talk on Rage Club, on building Rage Club game worlds around yourself and around the world? I'm open for this. By the way, I'm also looking for people to come to Get Your Real Voice Back, Discerning Between Irresponsible and Responsible Anger, and the 333 Rage Village Building Initiation. Nicole Nette will be with me in the 333. And May Ives has already said she will come as an apprentice Rage Club space holder, inviting her circles to get your real voice back. And I'll put the details for each of these underneath this video. Also, becoming better at writing articles, to go back to Anne Chloe's notes. Yeah, not just a journal entry, but powerful mimetic writing, landing distinctions, so that the person reading has new possibilities from reading your article. And there's this beautiful way that I've started to see more possibilitators sharing the draft of their article and saying, will you give me feedback and coaching? And I love this way of going in a Zoom room like this, putting the screen, sharing the screen in my window so that I'm in a little box and the screen is there. And I go through the article and I say, what about this? Here, this could be clearer, this, and give the person coaching to work with so that they can level their article up into a higher level of clarity and mimetic writing for impact, for really bringing possibilities to people. And then publishing the articles, not only on Medium or Substack, but getting them out into journals and magazines. My box is freaking out about this. It's like, and my being is like, okay, steps about that would be finding the addresses to send the articles to, so that they get into magazines like what? Like Time magazine, like People magazine, like wow. I just saw People magazine, like, who wants to write an article about Anne Chloe Destremo as an Arcan woman that people that could be listed among people to know in a People magazine? Maybe that's on my bench. I'll see what happens. I feel scared to add any pots to my cook stove right now. My cook stove is so full and there's a lot to keep track of. Talking to people. Yes, I think this is, this goes back to one of the rules about Rage Club that I don't hear enough said. It's like, don't hurt yourself, don't hurt anyone else, don't get arrested, and talk about Rage Club. Talk about it. There are eco-villages, intentional communities, permaculture game worlds, and she shared these maps with these long list of places that there are people who are edge workers who are lacking Arcan descriptions, and they are interfacing with people in crisis often, who would benefit from the distinctions of culture and responsibility. This clarity that the map of context and responsibility gives about how there is a further edge beyond the edge of modern culture. There are these game worlds contexted in radical responsibility, and to show that that's possible, to show the edge of modern culture and what is beyond it, and to talk about Rage Club as spaces beyond the edge, on and beyond the edge, and that really these distinctions of building distinction through using anger as a resource. It's like then you have springs on your boots. You can just you can take bigger steps toward the edge, beyond the edge, and do this over and over, so that people really get the experiential distinction of modern culture, the edge of modern culture, and radical responsibility. So there are people who need Rage Club: women in shelters, kids in orphanages, homeless shelters, women in slums, refugees, and then the social educational entrepreneurs and the social workers that are working still in the system of systems. Many of them, they take those jobs because they're scared to launch out on their own, and they work within these systemic structures and they hate it. And they're often like, I hear them say over and over, my hands are tied because I have to live under this code of conduct, or within the limitations of this game world. Like, and there's so many things, like they're not allowed to get too personal with people. But if they come to Rage Club, not only are they now teaming up with other people who have the necessity they have to start using their real voice, to be more centered, to not give their center to their bosses or their coworkers, but to really start to be able to say what they want. They may continue to work in that systemic context for a while, but their context, the context of their personal culture, can start to grow and change, so that then once they get to the part where they want to leave that, that corporate or municipal or provincial systemic workplace, they have somewhere else they can go to. They have already a village through Rage Club of people who are building context of radical responsibility, and with whom they can team up, so that sometimes they don't want to leave these jobs because they have a mortgage or a lease that of a house that's usually too big for what they need. But then they can start to, through Rage Club, find other people who are on a roll towards ever more radical responsibility to team up with outside of the workplace, outside, like in their living spaces. Because there's this way that people, edge workers, still make themselves lone wolves, or they team up with just people who have very similar boxes. And this starts to create possibility beyond the possibilities that already exist for them. And yeah, and Chloe wrote more about you know other possibilities, about people who need Rage Club, people who Rage Club space holders can talk to, possibilitators can talk to. And then there's this part I want to add about teaming up. Every time I team up with another possibilitator, anything that we create together goes to so many more people as an invitation. Because when May said yes to my offer to come and bring her matrix to the Get Your Real Voice Back space, she also brings the possibility of all of her circle that she has so far also coming to that space. And then there can be this cross-pollination. So for example, if May, who I think is in the UK, forgive me if I'm wrong about that, May, if May and me and say, another possibilitator, Rage Club spaceholder from the US, all came into this call and brought our circles, everyone who comes hears about May and what she's up to over there, and the other one who's up to things over there, and gets invited to the online spaces and the in-person spaces. So this is what I want to really feed with this video, with this experiment I'm doing, is to add more to the Rage Club team up calendar, where not only are space holders offering more, but more space holders and possibilitators are going to more and bringing your circles with you. So if you set up 3 online Rage spaces in the next 3, 4, 5 weeks and invite me to that space, and I will invite my circles to come too. All the people who've come to what I'm doing, I will say, come to this too. This is another chance to practice, experiment, and meet other people who are practicing and experimenting, because then you have more potential experiment partners. You have more potential people who might know someone who lives physically and geographically near you. I mean, what if May knows someone from the Sunshine Coast? It's possible. It wouldn't be the first time that I have talked to someone far away who said, I know someone who lives near you. And it's astonishing what happens. Also, I can't say this often enough. Maybe I've said it too much already, but I'll say it again. 333 as a doorway to Rage Club, as a doorway to the whole world of possibility management. There's so many people who are so mad about something and they're so scared to be mad. But if they are in a held space, in an experiment that only lasts 3 minutes, with maybe 8 or 9 minutes before and 8 or 9 minutes after, 15-minute Zoom call is easy for someone to get to. And then it builds their longing to rage with other people in person. So 333 as a tasty, tasty Rage Club morsel. Just, yeah, will you do something with that? Will you write an article about that, or join the 333 Zoom in Crossroads, or invite all of your Rage Club participants that you've ever had to start over with a new 333? Doing one for 3 months is great. At one point I realized I'd been doing 333 almost consistently for 3.5 years, and I'm ready to start again. Is much for me and my ongoing matrix building and clarifying and keeping my pipes blown out, as much for that as for empowering more 333 space holders, more 333 participants in more places on the earth. So that's it. That's what I wanted to share in this call. And I feel glad that no one came, because then I could do it in 21 minutes and say goodbye and say to you, will you be in touch with me about what next steps you get from this call and what possibilities you get from this call that I didn't even talk about, just because this is a space of possibility. And I wouldn't be surprised to hear that while I'm talking, all kinds of possibilities came. Will you share what they are? I wish you an awesomely angry rest of your day. Goodbye for now.